in order to get to the home playoff games, in order to win next Saturday, in order to keep your playoff hopes alive, you have to beat Alabama. And to beat Alabama, you're going to have to make some adjustments that you did or did not do the previous week, and that is stopping a quarterback who has the ability to beat you with his legs. Alabama's quarterback, Jalen Milroe, obviously has the ability to beat you with his arm and his legs. He's shown you that throughout the course of this year, and last year he showed you that playing LSU. Defense is significantly better. They have got to make some adjustments. As far as those adjustments, Jay, what do you feel like? What do you need to see from them to say, okay, I see it, I listened, I heard it, we're coachable, and we made some changes, and what do you need to see for them to feel like, okay, I'm confident in them being able to contain them? I'm not saying stop them. Contain them enough to where they're not just running all over us.
Well, shit. I mean, we're not going to see anything until they actually go out there and play this game. So there's not much I could sit here and say I need to see from them.
No, but what do you like? I'm talking about as far as like scheme wise. Like, what would you? How do you defend that scheme wise defensively?
Well, they didn't plan for it at all. Like, it's very obvious when you watch the way they played it last week that they did not plan for it. They didn't have an extra man hanging over. They did not contain the edge on those situations. They didn't. Marcel Reed, if you go back and watch the game and you watch right after the game, on the field in the interview, Marcel Reed straight up said they didn't account for me a lot of these times, so I just kept the ball. And he can tell that by how they went about the reads. They didn't plan for it. So I would I know for a fact, you're going to play Jalen Milroe. You are going to practice the hell out of doing these things the right way because that's what you're going to plan for. Everybody knows this isn't, we're no longer in 2015 where people are trying to figure out how on earth to stop it. They just didn't plan for it.
Right.
So now that you plan for it, people have a better idea how to stop it. But with that being said, you got to understand, Jalen Milroe is still Jalen Milroe. He's going to get his. You have to contain, not stop. You're not going to pretty much stop it. You're going to need to be better at containing it. What I do have confidence is it's been pretty obvious through the course of the year and how this year has gone. Blake has done a very good job at putting game plans together, and the team has started to play like a team. Like we talked about before, we didn't sit here and say, oh, my God, they got a whole bunch of just absolute standout dog for top of the first round type of players. They were going to have to play together as a team. As games went on, you've seen them start to do that. Well, they're going to need to do a lot of that this week, and they're going to need to be able to make Jalen Milroe play from inside the pocket. And the better you can make him play from inside the pocket, the better chance that I think this group that's playing well together as a team has a chance to contain them and stop them and make a run and get a win in this game.
So I'm looking at Jalen Milroe's stats for the game, per game. They've played how many games? 8 games? First game of the season, Western Kentucky, 79 yards rushing. USF, he doesn't love playing USF, huh?
We didn't even get to. He didn't
He
play
didn't
him
even get to last year.
You had the lacrosse player play.
12 carries, 2 yards against USF. But then Wisconsin, 14 carries, 75 yards. Georgia, 16 carries, 117 yards. Vandy, 7 carries, 10. South Carolina, 18 carries, 36 yards. 14 carries, 11 yards. And then Missouri, 11 carries, 50 yards. So he's had 2 really good rushing games, 1 really, really good rushing game. But he's thrown the ball a lot better than he has in the past. He hasn't been he's extremely explosive, and that has not changed. But he hasn't been as explosive as he was last year. But he's got that in the tank, and he's going to do that. You know it's going to happen. You have to count for him always because at any given moment he can take the ball 75 yards.
I'll be honest with you. Like, this is going to be a game where points are scored. I am more worried about the flaws and the youth and the inability to run the ball that we showed
100%.
Offensively coming into this game, right? You gave a unit, a team, a program like Alabama who just came off of skunking someone, right? 34-0 win in a spot where we kind of thought like, oh, man, will they get it together right here? 34-0 win. You give them 2 weeks to now come into this, and you just showed your worst performance. So now they know what you struggle with. Now they know how they can disguise things. Now they know how they can put a game plan together to stop this offense. I'm more worried about us offensively being a cohesive unit to being able to keep up and score and push that thing forward the way we need to.
Yeah, and look, and Brian Kelly has been very vocal about that. Throughout the course of the year, it felt like he was kind of holding his tongue as the years gone. We know we have to run the ball better. We have to run the ball better. We have to run the ball better. Felt like after the game last week, he made it very apparent that that's going to be a priority in this bye week, right? And I don't know what you do at this point in the season to fix it, but there is ways to go out and generate some yards on the ground. There is ways to get the offensive line to say, hey, we got to figure this thing out. We've got to go, and everybody's got to do what they need to do to be able to block the guy and to be able to open up holes. And running backs, you have to be able to hit the hole and make the cuts and make a guy miss. And you got to do something to get some positive yards on the ground because Nussmeier can't do it all by himself, right? Everybody wants to blame Nuss. It ain't just on Nuss, right? It's probably more so on the running game than anything, right? If you can ask Nuss to throw the ball 35 times a game and run the ball for 100-plus a game, you're going to be feeling really good about yourself. And I just don't know what they do. I don't know how you do that at this point in the season. Like, what can they possibly do in the off week to make their game more efficient?
I mean, we talked about it. I think you got to use people like Xavier Thomas a little bit more. I think you have to understand how to do that. You have to use the extended run game and get the ball on the outside, but which at the end of the day is going to come as pass attempts, right? But once again, yes, that's everybody knows. It's very obvious to see you have to be able to run the football better. With what Nuss showed, the ability for them to be able to have 2 weeks to scheme up how they want to disguise and if they can do it, because they have some more veteran players that are in that secondary, right? If they're able to disguise the way they want to disguise, that's what's going to worry me because, like, once again, this will be his 9th start or maybe 10th start of his career because of the bowl game last year. 10th start of his career. This was his first real roadblock where you're like, oh, shit. Is that going to show up again in this big game? Because now we know the stakes have ratcheted up. Everybody knows where you're at right now. The mistakes have to be at a minimum, or you're going to come out and do that. And with that opportunity, that's where you sit here and you say, all right, let's see what we got. So that's the part, honestly, that scares me more because I don't see a world where we're going to come out and, I don't know, hold Milroe and that Alabama offense under 23, 24 points. So then can you top it? Can you score more? Can you beat them? Which means you need to be cleaner. You need to be more efficient on offense.
You certainly have to be better than you were last year against Jalen Milroe, where he ran for 20 times for 155 yards and 4 touchdowns.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
And now they are better than they were last year defensively, right? I think another positive and we're not going to preview that game already this week, but
yeah, we are every day.
I think another positive you look at what we got going on this year. Our front seven, our defensive line is really good. Their offensive line is not near as good as they were last year. Alabama's, right? Alabama's offensive line had some struggles throughout the course of the year. They've had some struggles protecting Milroe and letting guys get to him. But so we'll see what happens.
He's
with that.
regressed. From the start of the year to where he is now, it feels like Milroe's gotten out of.
Yeah, he's susceptible to holding the ball, dude. So like you can get to him. Like that's why I don't feel that bad about where our defense is and the ability to kind of stop them and or slow them down, because of where they've been, how they've progressed through the season and stuff like that. I'm more worried about the offense side of the ball coming in.